Hey guys, welcome back to Corey Has Spoken. Now, I wanted to speak a little bit more about this Cain Velasquez case. For any of you guys who have been subscribed to me for a little while and listened to some of my videos, you know that this is a topic I'm very passionate about. And the reasons, in case you haven't heard, I spent a lot of my young adult years as a teacher of young children, specifically this age range of the supposed victim in the young relative, which we can only assume is the son of Cain Velasquez. So, my 4 year college degree is in child development, a birth through kindergarten license is what I obtained with that. And I also taught school. Um, Pre-K more at four classroom for a little over 8 years, and I've also been in kindergarten classrooms. I've done field studies in kindergarten, first grade, on up to second grade classrooms. So let's just say I've spent a lot of time around this population age of children. Now, I do not do that for a career anymore. I just, to be completely honest, did not have the patience to be in a classroom with young children and until the day I retired. It just wasn't for me. But that doesn't take away the fact that I care about children and would never want to see a child be hurt. And so I'm obviously very passionate about this case. Now, Cain issued a public statement today via his social media. I say a public statement, but it was just a statement that he issued on his social media. Obviously, it's public because this is such a high profile case, and he is a high profile individual, being a former professional UFC champion. So I want to read this statement, then I want to talk a little bit about the statement, a couple of things in the statement that stuck out to me, and then I just want to react to those things and make a few comments. So the statement goes like this: To everyone that has expressed your support, my family and I will never be able to thank you enough. From the bottom of our hearts and the depths of our souls, we are forever grateful for your love. Your selfless gestures and kind words have given me the strength in my darkest times. This story is complex and slowly unraveling as we speak. To the true victims of this case, may God give you the strength to come forward. Though it is most difficult to relive the pain that has happened to you, in speaking the truth, justice will be served and your own true healing will start. I will never stop helping or loving my community and all of you. Thank you for loving me, Cain Velasquez. So, very powerful to say the least. So basically, let's unpack this a little bit. And one of the things that stood out to me in this is the statement where he said, "To the true victims of this case, may God give you strength to come forward." Victims is written in plural here, which indicates that there is more than one victim. Obviously, Cain's relative, which we are going to assume is his son, was supposedly a victim of molestation. Now, I want to be clear: Harry Goularte has um, officially been charged with molestation. This has only been alleged of him. It has not been proven. He has not been convicted of this crime as of right now. So I want to be completely clear about that. And I'm not an attorney either. Speaking on this from a child development professional and a person who loves MMA and am a huge fan of Cain Velasquez too. So I want to talk about it from that perspective. But he refers to victims in this case, which indicates that there is more than one that he knows of. I don't know why he would have said the true victims of this case if it wasn't being indicated to him, whether it be through his attorney or family members or someone on the outside, that there are other complaints maybe that have been made from other children at this daycare that have claimed the same sort of thing about Harry Goularte. And then I want to say this, I've had a couple of people to comment on my videos and say, this guy's not been convicted, so we can't, you know, send him to the stake to crucify him, Harry Goularte, that is. And you're right. You are 100% right about that. Now, but I will say this: more times than not, things like this do not happen in a vacuum. And if there are, in fact, other children that are coming forward and speaking about this, or maybe some of the, defense team has gone out and done some interviews with some of these, other children who attend this daycare. I'm going to do a lot of backtracking here, but it's because there's so much to cover. So let me start by saying there is a reason that they only have professionals to interview these children when it comes to cases like this. Children, especially children of this age, 4 years old, 3, 4, 5 years old, they have absolutely no knowledge of sexual orientation. They have no knowledge that the most that they know is that there are girls and there are boys. Outside of that, they have no sexual experience whatsoever. So it is pretty much impossible to be accused of something like this unless there is some sort of truth to it. And also, children are able to be led very easily, and they are able to be manipulated very easily. And they've gotten in trouble in the past with having the wrong people to come in and ask children about molestation cases and say things to them that were not open-ended questions, that were closed-ended questions, like, did he touch you here? Pointing to the private parts. And, 9 times out of 10, a lot of children they want to make adults happy. That's what kids do. They look up to adults. We are like their gods, and they want to make adults happy. So 9 times out of 10, if they're asked, did he touch you here? They're going to say, mm-hmm. Well, he may not have. He may have, he may not have. But what they did learn is there are even specific ways that children have to be questioned, and they can't be led. It has to be open-ended sort of questioning. The children they have to figure out ways to get these children to come up with this sort of thing on their own. And here's the thing, I worked in this field for over 10 years. Never, ever, 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 ever in a million years was I accused of something like Harry Goularte was accused of. Why is that? Well, it's because I never came close to doing anything like that. And I did, in fact, multiple times these are 3, 4, 5-year-old children who barely have even dexterity in their fingers. So many of them not only don't pick out their own clothes, but still have to have adults dress them. Many of them cannot undo the buttons and unzip the zipper on their pants. So there were times that I had to help a child to undo their pants or something like that so they could use the bathroom so they wouldn't pee pee or poo poo on themselves. Let's just get real. So that is a real aspect of that job. But with that, never, ever, ever in all of those years was I accused of anything like that. This individual was. And there's only two ways that that could have happened. One of those ways is if he actually did something that made the child feel strange, something that the child deep down in their being did not feel was right, or made them feel uncomfortable in some way. He touched them in a way that their their caregivers or parents had never touched them before. Something just didn't feel right to the child. So the child goes to their parent, to another adult, whether it be Cain or his wife or whoever it is, and told them about what Harry Goularte did to them. Now, the other option in this scenario, which is why you have to be really careful on how you approach children in cases like this, because the other option is an adult planted that in the child's head. In other words, you know, let's say, I don't know, let's say a parent of one of the children there shows up at the daycare. Where's little Johnny? Oh, he's in the bathroom. They walk over, they see little Johnny coming out of the bathroom with Harry Goularte, who is a 43-year-old man who apparently lives in that area but is not an employee of the actual daycare. So then the parent starts to think, huh, what the hell's this guy doing in the bathroom with my kid? Get in the car on the ride home. Hey, little Johnny. So, what were you doing in the bathroom? Oh, I was going to the bathroom. Okay, did he you know, did touch you anywhere or do anything that made you feel uncomfortable? Did he touch you here? Believe me, listen, this is not common knowledge. A lot of adults do not know this, and they're thinking from these things from an adult perspective. They're not thinking of it from a child's perspective. A child is not going to just come off the top of the dome with some sort of sexual allegation. Now, if you're talking about a grown woman who has had multiple sexual partners and has sexual experience, of course she can wrongly accuse a man of rape or something like that, whether it be for money, maybe he's rich and famous, she's trying to get some, a payout or something like that. Of course, something like that can happen. Of course, a grown woman with sexual experience can rift something like that, can lie about something, can make up something like that. A child of 4 years old does not make up something like that, because a child at 4 years old does not have the sexual knowledge and experience to be able to come off the top of the head with something like that. So there's only two ways that this accusation could have happened. The child comes on their own, and that something really did happen. The child felt uncomfortable, happened maybe multiple times. The child goes to the adult, says, "Hey, so and so, that man, did this and he did that to me in the bathroom." And that's how it begins. The accusation, that is. Or nothing really happened, and they went into the bathroom. The man helped them get their pants down. They went to the bathroom. There was no inappropriate behavior. But then the adult of little Johnny sees little Johnny walking out of the bathroom with this grown man who the adult knows nothing about, right? And then they begin to pry and they begin to ask questions. And sometimes it can be leading questions, what they call closed ended questions, you know, steering the child into answering in the way that the parent or the adult wants them to answer. You understand? So these sort of things matter. So the fact that it says right here in his statement, victims, multiple victims, that makes me think that there are talks and interviews going on with other children at that daycare that maybe have come forward. And listen, all I have to say is, yeah, yeah, that needs to happen. Not just for the sake of Cain, because from Cain's perspective, I don't know necessarily how that's going to help Cain at this point, because Cain did what he did, and he's going to receive some sort of punishment for that. At best he may be able to plead some sort of crime of passion or temporary insanity, that sort of situation. And because he was fortunate enough to not have killed anyone, he because he's never been in trouble before, he may be able to get out with kind of a lighter sentence sort of thing. But the other children coming forward at this point, if there are in fact multiple victims, may not necessarily help Cain. But what we're forgetting about here is that there is a man who is accused of an alleged child molester, and he is accused of molesting at least one child multiple times. And now, according to what Cain is saying here, it seems like there could be more victims. Now, obviously, this was worded very carefully, and Cain isn't going to go giving specifics about anything. And, he's a smart man. He's not going to do that. I'm sure he was very careful about everything he said here. But I have to assume that because he said victims, he must know something or be hearing of something from his defense team and possibly others, family members, friends, whoever it is. They're digging right now, is what they're doing. They're digging. They've probably done interviews with other children. They've probably got professionals interviewing these children to find out if this man, Mr. Galarte, has actually had other victims. I don't know if it's going to help Cain, all right? But I encourage these parents of these victims, if they feel there was any wrongdoing whatsoever, encourage these children, as difficult as it might be, to come forward, because it may not help Cain, But if this guy is a child molester, he needs to be put behind bars. And there have been too many people that have slipped through the cracks for years and years and years and years, continuing to do this sort of thing because no one would come forward and speak up to in order to be able to put this person behind bars. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. You know, a lot of people are looking at this and everybody's free Cain, free Cain, free Cain. Listen, I get that. I understand, but there's a bigger issue at the base of all of this, and that has to do with a man named Harry Goularte who has been accused of molesting a child. This is a sick, perverted, twisted individual if this is in fact the case. So, you know, hopefully, you know, these victims will be able to come forward, even though it will be difficult, because it's one of those things where if people don't come forward and tell their stories and speak up, then this man could just be right out on the street. Now, listen, if he didn't do anything wrong, and if he's not guilty of these things, he should be on the street. He shouldn't be locked up. Let's get real, you know. And as of right now, it's not been proven that he has, but it's going to make a big difference in the case of Harry Goularte serving time, being locked away so he can't hurt any more children, or him being free to go right back out on the street. It's going to make a big difference. Whether it's going to benefit Cain in any way, I don't know that it would benefit him in terms of, you know, getting a lighter sentence or anything like that, but it would definitely do a lot for his psyche and the psyche of his family if they were able to prove the that this man was guilty and that Cain Velasquez didn't do all of this in vain. And that would definitely make a difference. And hey, you know, it may make a difference in this case too. You know, this is a high profile case. If it turns out that other children come forward, this man gets accused of molesting multiple children, has multiple counts against him, and is proven in a court of law that he is guilty of these things, you never know. The sitting judge over Cain's case may look at it and say, well, you can kind of understand, can't you? You know, so we don't know how all of that went down. There's been a lot of details withheld from the public regarding that. But anyway, that's what I got, guys. Appreciate you listening. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button too, and ring the bell if you'd like so you can get notifications when I post a video. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.